You know, a lot of superheroes that you're familiar with have more powers than you probably realize. While everybody knows that the Hulk is super strong, that Spider-Man can stick to walls, that Quicksilver is fast, and that Iron Man can fly, other characters have been known to bust out unfamiliar powers from absolutely nowhere. In this video, we'll run you through 10 powers that you didn't know 10 of the most popular Avengers possess. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It's the best way of keeping up to date with all of Screen Rant's great new videos. During the video, can you count how many times Stan Lee randomly appears? Stick around until the end to find out if you counted correctly.
Justice will come soon enough.
Black Panther can create illusions. We're obviously all now aware that Black Panther wears a high-tech suit of vibranium armor, which renders him extremely hard to hurt thanks to vibranium's unique ability to absorb kinetic energy. And we're all also aware that thanks to the heart-shaped herb, he has moderately superhuman physical attributes like super strength and agility. However, what you're probably not aware of is the fact that the suit is full of gadgets that grant T'Challa a number of other powers, including the projection of extremely convincing illusionary holograms. Designed by the incredibly talented Wakandan scientist Nalix, gadgets known as holopods are housed on T'Challa's person, and when thrown, these spherical blue items activate and project multiple holographic doubles of the armor's wearer. Remarkably, the holograms also have a heat signature, which means they can fool opponents even when they have access to infrared technology. This allows the real T'Challa to attack while his opponents are confused and focusing on intangible copies of himself, or they can allow him to sneak past enemies who are otherwise occupied by his duplicates. It's a very useful power to have, but it's certainly not one that he uses as often as he probably should for some reason.
Now might be a really good time for you to get angry.
That's my secret, Captain. I'm always angry.
The Hulk can see ghosts. Ooh. As we touched upon the intro to this video, everyone knows the Hulk is super strong. The angrier he gets, the stronger he gets, to the extent that he can lift billions of tons. In fact, it's said that the Hulk's strength is potentially limitless. What you might not know, however, is that the big green guy also has the ability to see astral beings, which of course includes ghosts. The ability hasn't exactly been explored in depth in the comics, but Doctor Strange theorized that it could be based on the fact that the Hulk possesses extremely primitive instincts. He has a very animalistic mind, if you will. Bruce Banner's alter ego can seemingly sense a fundamental wrongness in the environment around him, perhaps in the same way a dog is said to be able to smell fear, and might sometimes react to something that humans can't see. Hulk notices things around him that are out of place and abnormal fairly quickly, and it's been demonstrated countless times in classic Defenders and Hulk comics. On one occasion, it enabled him to communicate with Doctor Strange's astral form, which in turn allowed him to assist the sorcerer in escaping from a powerful extra-dimensional demon.
This usually works. Well, performance issues.
Iron Man has a freeze ray. Iron Man is, of course, the armored alter ego of genius billionaire playboy and philanthropist Tony Stark, and he's arguably now the most famous Avenger, thanks to the iconic portrayal of the character by Robert Downey Jr. in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I am Iron Man.
His high-tech red and gold armor, which is of his own design, allows him to fly, grants him super strength, makes him incredibly durable, and can fire powerful repulsor energy blasts amongst other things. A power it possesses that you might not be aware of, however, is its freeze ray. That's right, similar to how DC's Superman can freeze his opponents with his freeze breath, Iron Man can freeze his opponents with a potent beam of Ultra Freon. Ultra Freon being an extreme version of the repellent used to power refrigerators. In fact, there's a lot more than just basic repulsor energy that Iron Man can project from his armor. It's also capable of generating sonic blasts, creating magnetic fields, and producing a powerful electromagnetic pulse that can wipe out the power of anything functioning nearby. Given that his armor is so versatile, it's not really surprising that he doesn't resort to using such a simple freeze weapon all that often.
So is this how you normally look?
More or less.
It's a good look.
Thor has telepathic powers. Even people who aren't comic book fans immediately think of power when they hear the name Thor, thanks to the fact that he's a god from Norse mythology. The Asgardian son of the Allfather Odin is known as the God of Thunder, meaning that in addition to being super strong and durable, he can summon and channel powerful lightning bolts and control other aspects of the weather for his own use. That being said, the Marvel version of the character has an abundance of powers that even staunch comic book readers aren't always familiar with. as well as a variety of exotic abilities granted to him by his powerful warhammer Mjolnir, such as dimensional travel and molecular manipulation. Thor also possesses some serious telepathic powers. Not only can he fend off mental attacks from characters who possess major psionic oomph, he can also mentally control the Asgardian destroyer armor and has even shown the ability to alter people's memories. He rather appropriately calls the latter ability the gift of forgetfulness, and most famously uses it to make Jane Foster, his long-standing love interest, forget about the fact that she was ever kidnapped by his mischievous and equally powerful adoptive brother, Loki.
Can you spit venom? No. Can you summon an army of spiders? No, Ned.
Spider-Man is immune to radiation. Peter Parker was, of course, bitten by a radioactive spider, which resulted in him becoming the webbed wonder known as Spider-Man. Parker gained powers like enhanced strength, bullet-dodging speed, and increased durability, as well as the ability to stick to walls, and in some iterations of the story, the ability to shoot extremely strong organic webbing from his body. Pretty much everybody knows about these powers. Spider-Man is a pop culture icon, so you don't even have to be a comic book fan to be aware of what he's capable of. However, not even all comic book fans know about the fact that his powers also grant him complete immunity to all kinds of radiation, as well as being useful to Spider-Man when it comes to being in a radioactive environment. He has also used this immunity offensively. On one occasion, he juiced up on radiation specifically so that when the vampiric Morlun fed on his blood, he would contract radiation poisoning. Of course, Spider-Man's radioactive nature also has its extremely harsh downsides. His wife, Mary Jane, died of cancer due to years of exposure to his radioactive bodily fluids. By which we mean sperm. Spider-Man has radioactive sperm. Yo.
Before we get started, does anyone want to get out?
Captain America is super intelligent. Steve Rogers was a weak and sickly but very courageous young man prior to being injected with the super soldier serum. The serum made his body reach the peak of human potential, which effectively gave him moderately superhuman physical attributes in terms of his strength, speed, agility, and durability. And of course, he was then given one of the most famous weapons in fiction in the form of his iconic vibranium shield. Pretty much everyone knows all of that. However, what you may not know is that the serum also increased his intelligence to genius levels. Rogers was always astute and very tactically adept, but after becoming the superhero we all know as Captain America, his brain was upscaled to the point that he's able to complete lightning-fast calculations and make life-saving decisions in a fraction of a second. He also has a perfect memory, which is brilliant when it comes to military tactics, and it means that he can speak a number of languages. Cap's intelligence is arguably his most underrated quality. Sure, he'd kick your ass in a fight and excel at pretty much any sport, but he'd also beat you in an IQ test or a spelling bee. The man really does have it all.
What do you want, Strange?
Books on astral projection.
You're not ready for that.
Try me, Beyonce. Oh, come on. You've heard of her. She's a huge star, right?
Doctor Strange can clone himself. Doctor Strange is by far Marvel's most well-known magic user, and he has been the sorcerer supreme of his home dimension on a number of occasions. In spite of the fact that he's merely human, he can, of course, use magic to potentially replicate any superpower. For example, the man otherwise known as Stephen Strange could, in theory, magically make himself as strong as the Hulk, as fast as Quicksilver, or as durable as the Juggernaut. Another thing he's done using magic that you might not be aware of is create clones of himself, each of which is capable of acting completely independently of his original body and mind. It's an incredibly useful trick, as dealing with multiple Doctor Stranges is obviously going to be more difficult for any opponent than it is dealing with just one. Strange has, in fact, used this power when going up against none other than the god of mischief himself, Loki, giving Thor's adoptive brother a taste of his own medicine, kind of like how he did by using a different method in 2017's Thor Ragnarok.
So you gotta hold on to love. Tight. And never let go.
Deadpool has telepathic defenses. You're probably thinking, Deadpool has never been in the Avengers, but he actually has.
I know, right?
Specifically, Wade Wilson has been a member of the Avengers Unity Squad, a team composed of members of both the X-Men and Avengers that appears in the Uncanny Avengers comic book series. The Merc with a Mouth is a famously adept combatant, both in melee fighting and in terms of marksmanship skills, and it's very well known that he has an incredibly regenerative healing factor that allows him to heal from almost any wounds, even those that would be fatal to other humans. But he also has some powers and abilities that most people don't know about. One of those abilities is telepathic defense. Deadpool's mind is wired a little differently, and it can therefore do certain things other brains can't. His healing powers help him fight against any form of mind invasion, and his brain's biology is constantly changing, so it's impossible for telepaths to influence or control him, even those as powerful as the likes of Emma Frost. In fact, when a telepathic character called Black Swan attempted to invade Deadpool's mind, what he encountered in there was so crazy that it drove him insane.
How did you ever talk me into this?
Oh, stop griping, Brucey.
She-Hulk can switch minds with other characters. Like the original male version of the Hulk, who happens to be her cousin, She-Hulk is known for being green and having great physical strength and durability. She does differ from him in the sense that she's not quite as strong as he is. She doesn't get exponentially stronger the angrier she gets, and she retains her intelligence in her hulking form. But the basic principles are generally the same in the case of both characters. That being said, Jennifer Walters does possess certain abilities that differentiate her from Bruce Banner's version somewhat. One of those abilities is known as the Ovoid Mind Transfer, which enables her to switch her mind with those of other characters. The Ovoid Mind Transfer is so named because it's a technique that was perfected by the alien race known as the Ovoids, who taught her how to do it. Very few non-Ovoid characters in the Marvel Universe are capable of it, the genius supervillain Dr. Doom being amongst the best known, but She-Hulk is certainly one of them. The downside of the technique is that her powers disappear with the transference, but her green coloring doesn't, making her a very obvious and very vulnerable target.
Good morning, Logan.
Wolverine has night vision. He's famously a member of the X-Men, but is also a very prominent member of the Avengers. In fact, he was even on the Avengers side in the titular conflict of the Avengers vs. X-Men comic book storyline. His shtick is that he has a powerful regenerative healing factor that allows him to recover from even the most severe wounds. And he has an adamantium-laced skeleton, including retractable claws, that increase his durability and allows him to slice through almost anything like a hot knife through butter. But he also has a number of other key abilities. Perfect eyesight is a given, considering his body instantly heals from anything that might otherwise cause him problems in that regard. But what you might not know is that he also has night vision. Wolverine can see for miles, even in pitch black. But it's something that doesn't seem to get mentioned all that much in comics, certainly not in comparison with how much it gets mentioned with regards to his enemy Sabretooth anyway. It is, however, a very useful ability, and one he has in common with the vicious, predatory, nocturnal creature he shares the name with. And that's the end of our video. Did you enjoy it? Do you know of any other secret powers Avengers have? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Screen Rant for more great videos like this one. And the number of times Stan Lee randomly appeared was... We hope you had fun counting. Bye for now.